one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball.
Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win. Now the 2-1. Line drive to the base. Just as the score the tying run. Green to the plate. And he is saved. Saved at the plate. The Braves go to the World Series.
Have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines that sat when they were children and cheered their heroes.
Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable!
A 3-run home run for Bucky Dent. The Yankees now lead by a score of 3-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mazeroski has hit a 1-0 pitch over the left field fence at Forbes Field to win the 1960 World Series.
They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past.
The Pope arrived at Yankee Stadium. As one enthusiastic announcer put it, he is standing on second base.
Reggie Jackson. Long drive, right field. It is goodbye. Big World Series for Reggie Jackson.
The Blue Jays are World Series champions as Joe Carter hits a 3-run home run.
Back to throw. There's a left back. It's going to be, I believe, the Giants from the pennant. The Giants from the pennant. The Giants from the pennant.
The 0-1 pitch. A liner off Nagy's glove into center field. The Florida Marlins have won the World Series.
The memories will be so thick that I can brush them away from their faces.
The 1-0 delivery to Fisk. He swings, long drive, left field. If it stays fair, it's gone. Home run. The Red Sox win. And the series is...
Lolich fires. Ball is hit high in the air. This should be the series. Freehand waving everybody away in foul territory. Detroit wins.
Here's the pitch to Willie. Here's a liner straight to Richardson. The ball game is over and the World Series is over. Willie McCovey hit it like a bullet. A line drive right
Baseball to mark the time.
The Oakland A's take. I'll tell you what, we're having an earth.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Candlestick Park for Game 3 of the 1989 World Series.
It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt and erased again.
Frank Robinson, the right-hand batter.
Long drive to left field. Way back. Gets hit back.
Base hit loaded, 1 out. Pena in a chance. The Twins are going to win the World Series. The Twins have won it.
Ozzie with 1 out. Smith corks one into right down the line. It may go. Go crazy, folks. Go crazy. It's a home run. And the
Willie Mays just brought this crowd to its feet with a catch, which must have been an optical illusion to a lot of people.
This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again.
Broadcasted live.
Hey! Who wants to have some fun?
There are balls coming from all over the place. Left field, center field, right field. See, this is the kind of thing, quite honestly, right now, that makes you want to see the Chicago Cubs team lose.
Now, are you just saying you want to have fun, or do you really want to have fun?
It'll be fun.
Will the next person that sees anybody throw anything onto this field, point them out, or get them out of here. You don't live in Cleveland. You live in Cincinnati.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
That is the farthest thing in the universe from the truth.
Hello, everyone, live. It's the Dan Scott Show. And right there is your host, Dan Scott.
All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of our program.
I am your host, Dan Scott. We'll be here for the next hour or so and trying to cover a lot of ground in the process, up to and including our first visit with our buddy Billy Davis for the first time in, 3 or 4 weeks maybe since he's gotten back in the country. But looking forward to talking to the former Clemson two-sport star, the retired Secret Service agent, and guy who also spent some time in the National Football League. So today, one of the topics that we're going to discuss with Billy Davis is overcoming adversity and talking about it from a lot of different angles. And, of course, he is one who's had experience with it from a lot of different angles. So I hope that you'll stay tuned for that and that you'll enjoy that conversation. It's always good to catch up with Billy. And we'll be doing that in the 1025 segment of the program here this morning. Otherwise, got a couple of other things that we're going to try to focus on, some now and some later, including this incredible story coming out of Kansas City, where the Anaheim Angels, quote-unquote, politely requested that 3 female fans quit cheering so loudly for Shohei Ohtani during a recent game because they were making too much noise for him and he wants to focus. Now, Ohtani himself did not ask for that to happen, but did say later that he appreciated it. And we're going to talk about this a little bit later, maybe broach it with Billy, but I just can't help but think, what are they doing? Yeah, I understand the investment they've made in this guy, and he's trying to become the first real two-way player in Major League Baseball, consistent two-way player since Babe Ruth. But do they not realize the can of worms that they've just opened here and how that's going to fly in stadiums the rest of the year? It's unbelievable. We'll talk a little bit more about that coming up again as the show goes on, and it gets you some news and notes, updates from things going on at Furman, including the women's golf program here in command. There's no other way to say it, just in command at the Southern Conference Championships as they enter the third and final round today, which is underway. So we'll give you some updates there. Baseball is at Gardner-Webb tomorrow. No midweek game today, but they're at Gardner-Webb tomorrow. And then, of course, on the road for 3 games with VMI this weekend in Lexington, Virginia. No update that I can give you right now on the health of 2/3 of the starting rotation. Lefties Grant Sherman and Matt Lazaro still waiting on word from the team, who's waiting on word from the doctors after their visits yesterday. So, everything we know from that standpoint is still kind of up in the air. All that we know for sure is that they did go see doctors yesterday. You may remember that in both ends of the doubleheader, both of the lefties left early for precautionary reasons. Sherman with tightness in his left shoulder and Lazaro with tightness in the left elbow. So they were to be seen by the doctor yesterday, and no update as of right now. So, again, we'll just kind of keep our fingers crossed and hope that all of that comes back good news, that nothing major is going on, and they'll both be back in the rotation this weekend. Don't know that yet. We'll find out, and as soon as we know, you will know. So we got that going on. We'll maybe talk a little more baseball beyond that. I'm kind of upbeat, man. My Reds won their 3rd game of the season in Milwaukee last night and won it by a big margin. They scored 10 runs, which is not more runs than they've scored in the first 14 games combined this season. It only seems that way. But that's the life of being a Major League Baseball fan or any sport fan. You're going to have these days, these moments, these seasons sometimes, and it looks like it's going to be that way for those of us who cheer the Reds on. But anyway, so we've got the usual amount of stuff to get to today, and we'll start diving into it here in just a moment. Got to tell you, as always, right at the top, though, the show is presented by our friends at the Atlanta Bread Company. They are located in Cherrydale Plaza, just down the road from campus here at Furman. Fantastic food, even better people, and would highly encourage you go check them out for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And when you do, please take the time to tell them that you heard about them here on the show. They have been very, very kind to us as our presenting sponsor for the duration of the program, which is still very much in its infancy, and we're looking forward to that relationship continuing, and we will continue to tell you about them, as always. Atlanta Bread Company, located in Cherrydale Plaza, downtown. We'll take a break. We'll come back and get things rolling on this Monday edition of the program. We'll start with some Furman-related updates in the next segment, and then Billy Davis will join us in the following segment. Dan Scott Show just getting underway, and we'll be back right after this.
Holding, number 79, defense, first down. I'm also holding a party tonight.
Great call by the official. Looks like we've got another flag on the field.
Holding, a Pepsi. Necessary refreshment.
Hey, Ted, bring some of that Pepsi to my party.
Pepsi and the NFL. Welcome to the Fun Doesn't End Zone.
The Atlanta Bread Company wants to make your dining experience as convenient as possible, especially if you're ordering takeout. Go online to atlantabreadcompany.com, place your order there, and pay for it too. Then, when you get to the restaurant at Cherrydale Point, you breeze right by the cash registers and go straight to the pickup counter where your food will be waiting. And speaking of food, try the new Shrimp Po' Boy, a delicious and surprisingly healthy addition to the already great menu. That's the Atlanta Bread Company, Cherrydale Point in Greenville. When the Furman baseball team goes on the road, it travels safely, comfortably, and with the latest technology with Jeans Tours and Charters. Jeans has been a Furman favorite for decades and has serviced Furman baseball for over 20 years. Take it from head coach Brett Harker. Book your next road trip with Jeans. Jeans Tours and Charters, online at jeansbussvc.com or call 864-242-1673. Jeans Tours and Charters, servicing the upstate since 1980.
If you've been sidelined by an injury, the St. Francis Sports Medicine team is here 24/7 to get you back on the field. Our highly trained network of physicians, athletic trainers, and physical therapists treat all types of sports-related injuries, even those that don't occur from playing a sport. Call the St. Francis Hurt Line at 675-HURT for priority appointments or at-home advice. Again, that's 675-HURT.
All right, welcome back to the show. We are just getting things cranked up here on this Tuesday edition of the program. Tomorrow, Dave Glenn will be with us, and I believe it is the penultimate visit we'll have with him before he takes his break. Penultimate, by the way, is a journalism term for next to last. So I believe we'll have this week and next week, and that'll be it. Maybe one more week after that. We'll have to pin that down with David, and then that means I have to work a little bit harder on Wednesdays because he is the ultimate segment killer. And what I mean by that is, in this business, we're all looking for things to kill segments, but he does it by providing the best information out there when it comes to covering the Atlantic Coast Conference. So anyway, he'll be with us tomorrow on the program. Thursday and Friday shows right now are a little bit in flux because of travel and the series with VMI in Lexington, Virginia. Not uncommon for this time of year, so we'll know more probably tomorrow and let you know about Thursday's show specifically sometime during the program tomorrow. I got to ask this question. It has nothing to do with sports. I do not watch a whole lot of current television. What I do watch, basically, I'm just sitting in the living room so I can spend time with my wife. But one of the shows that we do watch that I enjoy for the most part is the show Superior Donuts that stars Judd Hirsch, who, of course, is a veteran actor, veteran TV performer, and was on the fantastic show Taxi back in the late 70s and into the early 80s. I don't know how many of you watched that show, but last night in the program, Judd Hirsch's character, Arthur, uttered a statement that was a nod and a throwback, or a callback, as they say in the business, to the Taxi series, and what may have been the most famous scene in that entire series, which was a fantastic series. You remember it had Judd Hirsch, it had Tony Danza in it. It had Christopher Lloyd in it, Danny DeVito in it. You remember the ensemble cast that they put together for that show. Well, one of the great scenes in that show was Christopher Lloyd's character, the Reverend Jim Ignatowski, trying to get his driver's license renewed. And it goes through a whole set of circumstances at the Department of Motor Vehicles, and it wraps up at the end with him sitting down and taking the written exam, and 4 of the other characters are standing up at a table away from the seated area, and the Reverend Jim, not so subtly, he thinks that he's doing it subtly, but tries to get the attention of the other 4 cast members there, and asks the question, what does a yellow light mean? And the actor who played Bobby, kind of looking this way, said, slow down. So naturally, the Reverend Jim said, what does a yellow... And they did that. It was 4 or 5 times, and he kept getting slower and slower with it. Well, last night in Superior Donuts, Judd Hirsch's character is trying to get his driver's license renewed, and he's having issues with it, and he comes bursting back into the donut shop, and he's complaining about the test being rigged and everything else. And as he's walking back into the kitchen area, he says, and yes, I know what a yellow light means. And my wife and I were watching that, and we both almost fell on the floor laughing because we're fans of the show Taxi. That's a great scene. And if you haven't seen it, or you haven't seen it in a while, I posted it on both my personal Facebook and Twitter pages. So you can go watch that famous scene from Taxi. It was absolutely hilarious last night. That was a brilliant piece of writing by the folks on Superior Donuts, and it brought back some really good memories. And again, the clip is on both my Facebook and Twitter pages. All right, to more important matters at hand. Some news and notes from what's going on around Furman. First of all, congratulations to men's tennis senior Cameron Green, the senior from Sydney, Australia. He was named the Southern Conference Men's Tennis Player of the Week for all matches played between April 10th and 16th. It was announced yesterday. This is his 3rd Player of the Week award this season, and he'll wrap up his 4-year career with 6 of these awards, so 3 of them this year. He was 2-0 at the number 1 singles spot. In doubles action, he continued to win with regularity, and so he was able to get that done this week and be named the Men's Tennis Player of the Week. They'll be back in action on Friday when they open the SoCon Men's Tennis Championship in Chattanooga. Meanwhile, speaking of championships, we referenced this just a moment ago. The final round of the SoCon Women's Golf Championship is underway down in Hilton Head, and the Lady Paladins, the Paladins women's golf team, are rolling, absolutely rolling. They ended the second round with a 22-stroke lead heading into today's final round of the Southern Conference Tournament at the Moss Creek Golf Club South Course down in Hilton Head. This would be their 17th title in when they wrap it up. Not would be. This will be their 17th title when they wrap it up today down in Hilton Head. So the folks team head coach Jeff Hull and his squad there just flat out steamrolling the field in Hilton Head and getting set for another shot at the NCAA tournament, which will be coming up here very, very soon. And I believe that's it, other than the note on baseball, of course, which is Gardner-Webb is the next opponent. It's in Boiling Springs, North Carolina, and that will be tomorrow at 6 o'clock, 5:45, our pregame show across all of our platforms, which will include, for the final scheduled time this regular season, our flagship station, Fox Sports 1440. So we'll have that broadcast for you, and hope that the Paladins will get things headed back in the right direction, and hope you'll enjoy the broadcast. Not sure if Tom Van Hoy is going to be with me or not for that one. We'll find out and let you know. But the broadcast will be tomorrow beginning at 5:45. Fox Sports 1440, Campus FM 95.9, FurmanPaladins.com via Stretch Audio, TuneIn Radio. You can take that audio with you at WPLS-LP. You can just search that station on TuneIn Radio and find it there. And then we will also have an in-stadium feed. We'll find an open frequency up in Boiling Springs, and I'll tweet that out for those of you who may be going to the game and want to listen to the broadcast in the stadium. We'll have that available for you as well. So anyway, that's a little wrap-up as far as what's going on around Furman, and this continues to be a good time to be a Paladin. I talked to my buddy David Cobb, of course, who is our color commentator for the radio football broadcasts, and there have been some Furman events going on down in Charleston. In fact, there was one down there last night that President Davis was attending. It's that time of year where they're kind of hitting the road and doing some things. And, of course, coming up on April 24th, it's Dens Day, and that is when they are making a concerted push for people, not just from the athletic department standpoint, but campus-wide for every department, for people to make monetary contributions to the school. Every college does it. Clemson had theirs last week. Dens Day is coming up for the Paladins. I believe it's on the 24th. So we're talking next week. And so the rounds are being made, and we hope that folks will do exactly that, make a contribution to your favorite part of this university and help it continue to go stronger and do the things that makes it such a great place to work, a great place to be a student, and the impact that it's making, not here just in the Greenville area, but all across the country and even the world. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back, and Billy Davis will join us on the other side. Before we go out, just a reminder about my buddy Kenny and the folks at Ridge Media. They are the ones putting together the new DanScottShow.com website, one-stop shop based in Greenville that does logo, print, and website design, as well as search engine optimization and marketing. They're based in Greenville. They also have an office down in Charleston, and their clients range from startups to Fortune 500 companies. You want to get a free consultation to find out how they can do for you what they're doing for me. It won't cost you a dime to have that meeting. Give them a call at 864-354-6175, 354-6175 for Ridge Media, LLC. There you see what else is coming up on today's show, including next, our chat with Billy Davis. That's on the other side. As the Dan Scott Show continues in just a moment.
Hey, Furman fans, it's baseball season. Here at Ingalls, we know that as you root for the home team, sometimes you want more than just peanuts and Cracker Jack. And while we do deliver on your favorite ballpark classics, we're proud to offer a packed lineup of everything you need to make your next meal a home run. Ingalls, a proud sponsor of Furman Baseball and the official grocery store of Furman Athletics. Go Dens!
Life's healthier when you're backed by a Greenville Health System primary care doctor. Because then, the doctor that has your back is backed by the more than 1,000 physicians and specialists at the region's leading health system, all working together to bring you the right care in the right place at the right time. Great health starts with a GHS primary care doctor, and there are more than 200 of them conveniently located throughout the upstate, ready to see you. Find yours today at ghs.org/mydoctor.
The Atlanta Bread Company wants to make your dining experience as convenient as possible, especially if you're ordering takeout. Go online to atlantabreadcompany.com, place your order there, and pay for it too. Then, when you get to the restaurant at Cherrydale Point, you breeze right by the cash registers and go straight to the pickup counter where your food will be waiting. And speaking of food, try the new Shrimp Po' Boy, a delicious and surprisingly healthy addition to the already great menu. That's the Atlanta Bread Company, Cherrydale Point in Greenville.
Let me tell you something, Cowboy. This rookie can really bring the heat.
He's smoky and spicy with a Chipotle style all his own.
It's a new Montgomery Inn Chipotle barbecue sauce. Make it a part of your home team.
Available now at your neighborhood grocer or online at CincyFavorites.com.
All right, welcome back to the program as we continue here on this Tuesday, right? Yeah, today is Tuesday. I am your host, Dan Scott. Hope that everything is going well with you. I got a computer. There we go. Got a computer that's kind of acting up over here, but I think we got it straightened away. Again, tomorrow, Dave Glenn, ACCsports.com, will be with us, and more information about the show the rest of the week once we find out some travel-related stuff for the trip to Lexington, Virginia for the series at VMI Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Right now, though, we are going to the aptly named Celebrity Guest Line and welcoming in a guy we haven't talked to in a few weeks because he has been out of the country with the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association and Franklin Graham, spreading the gospel news in Portugal, I believe, the last time we talked. Is that right, Billy Davis?
That's correct, Dan. How you doing, buddy? Lisbon, Portugal. Yeah, we had a festival over there and it went very well. Saved a lot of folks and made some new friends, and like you said, spread the gospel. It was a great week.
Well, it's good to have you back on American soil, and good to have you back on the program. It's always fun to catch up with you. I don't know if you heard a minute ago, I'm going to be at least partially in your direction this weekend. Furman plays 3 games at VMI in Lexington, Virginia, so I'll at least be in the same state.
Oh, yeah, you'll be 3 hours away, if that. Yeah, Lexington is just down I-81 from where we live, the Virginia Military Institute. I don't know if you've ever been to Lexington, but
oh, yeah.
It's a pretty little town there in the valley with Washington and Lee universities also there as well.
Yeah, they're basically on the same street.
Yep.
So
nice setup.
It is. Anyway, how you been, by the way? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's fine. We're just rolling right along. Got some things coming up here in the next few weeks, travel-wise. But other than that, yeah, everything's good. It was snowing up here in our house today, believe it or not. And that cold weather that blew through the Midwest got to us last night, and I was in my front yard with our dog, and it was actually snowing in Virginia, far northwestern Virginia. So sure doesn't feel like the middle of April, that's for sure.
No, I saw something from a friend of mine, this was even last week, I think, who lives in West Virginia, said it's not April, the whatever it was January 93rd. That's been kind of...
That's funny. That's very appropriate. What it feels like now, I'm watching people walk out of the child care center across the street from me, and they're all bundled up like it is January.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's I guess that's a cross we have to bear right now, but we'll get through it. And as I've told people here, in a couple of months, we'll be complaining that it's too hot, so we're never satisfied.
No, we never are. So, what do we got today on the sports agenda for the Dan Scott Show?
Well, there are a couple of things. I told you I wanted to talk about handling adversity, but I got to ask you about this, and I don't know if you've seen the story or not. I saw it this morning, and it kind of made me laugh and scratch my head. But the hullabaloo around Shohei Ohtani, the Japanese star that the Anaheim Angels signed. who is trying to become the first true two-way player in the big league since Babe Ruth. And, he's off to a fantastic start. He's doing well. But in Kansas City the other night, they only had about 15,000 people there. And there were 3 young female fans who were losing their minds over Ohtani every time he came to bat. And the Angels actually sent word asking them to be quiet because Ohtani needed to focus while he was at the plate. And Ohtani himself did not. Yeah. Ohtani himself did not ask for this, but later after the game said he appreciated it. And I thought to myself, do the Angels not realize the can of worms they've just opened up for the rest of the season and the rest of this guy's career? More than likely when he goes on the road?
No. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Isn't it, though?
I mean, not ever. I've heard a lot of dumb things, but that's as far as Major League Baseball. I mean, yeah. I mean, do they not watch, like, games in Japan where they beat drums in the stands and people yelling? I mean, what are they talking about? And like you said, do you think he's not going to hear an earful when he goes to Yankee Stadium?
How will that fly in Philly?
Oh, my goodness. They're going to be all over him. Like, they open up a can of worms. I mean, baseball is one of the few sports that baseball, basketball, football. It's not golf. It's not tennis.
And you know what? I wish golf was more like the other sports. You want to find out how those guys really are under pressure? Let's have the gallery screaming at the top of its lungs as they're getting ready to try to drain that 12-foot putt to win $2 million.
Oh, exactly. just like in a free throw. In a basketball game with 2 seconds left. Yeah.
But
silence, please. Total silence.
But yeah, I mean that. Yeah. So what's next? So they can be walking around holding up the quiet please signs, and they try.
Yeah,
the story. The story said they realized that that fans are going to make noise and everything. But I just you ask fans to be quiet in an opposing stadium now, in an opposing stadium, but so he can concentrate at the plate.
Now, obviously, my background, and most folks probably out there don't know my background, but I played baseball at Clemson, and that's not anywhere, shape, or form close to Major League Baseball. But some of the stuff that was hurled at me when I was playing the 1 year of baseball at Clemson, when I'd walk up to bat, when I was at the University of North Carolina, or we were playing at Florida State, some of the stuff that is yelled at you when you walk up to the plate is just from your sexual orientation to your mother, to your sister. And I mean, some of the stuff that comes out of people's mouths, you just take it for what it is and you move on.
Yeah,
whether it's baseball or football, my goodness, that's part of the game. So
there's a great line from Bill Cosby in his himself comedy routine that was released in '83 ahead of the Cosby show that would follow. And it's talking about his wife giving birth and in the room when the contractions really hit. And he said that she stood up in the stirrups and announced to everyone in the room that my parents were never married. Now, if you read into that, you know that she uttered a certain word.
Sure.
So, I mean, that's the kind of thing. Hey, listen, when I was at Clemson, Jack Leggett used to talk about it. Since I've been here at Furman, the players talk about it. They go to places. Outfielders hear it all the time from fans in the stands behind them. So, and if it happens here, it happens at the big league level as well. And I just couldn't help but think, number one, how ridiculous it was for them to make that request anyway for a professional baseball player, especially one coming from a culture, like you said, where they make incredible noise at Japanese baseball games. But think about things before you do something. The story's going to get out, which it did. What is going to happen now every time this guy takes the mound or comes to the plate on the road? It was going to be, bad anyway. It's going to be even worse now.
Yeah, well, you know what? Now that you've mentioned it, I'll make it a point to try to pull up whenever I can watch the Angels play, just to see how that's going to go. It's gonna pique my interest. I really, honestly, couldn't really care less about watching him play if he
Yeah.
was on. But I'm not going to go out of my way to watch him play.
Mm-hmm.
But now I might just to see that sideshow up in the
Yeah, I
stands.
mean, you find out they're on the road, and yeah, like you say, Yankee Stadium, and I don't know who they play interleague, but I would love to see them in Philadelphia in interleague play and let the Philly fans get going at this guy. And I don't condone all the things that fans say and do sometimes. All I'm saying is that by this one request that has now hit the press, all of those things are going to be on steroids from now on where this guy's concerned. It's just...
Well, I agree. Yeah, it should be fun to watch. And, there's only like 150 games left in the season.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
That's what I was telling somebody, they get all wrapped around the axle about who's doing what. And, the Mets are doing this and the Nationals are doing this. And I go, you do realize that there are 150 games left. I said, for instance, the Washington Redskins will have had their draft, their mini camp, their training camp, 4 preseason games, and will be well into the NFL season of 2018. And Major League Baseball regular season will still be going.
Yeah, they'll play at least 4 regular season games in the month of September.
Hockey will have had the Stanley Cup broke for a break, come back and start the regular season. This Major League Baseball season will still be going on. Clemson will be over halfway through their football season next year. So the grind and the marathon of Major League Baseball is pretty remarkable when you think what those guys do. I think a lot of people really take it for granted.
Yeah,
but that is a long mental. I think more of a mental grind than a physical grind.
Yeah, and Shohei Ohtani now has his people to thank for what will be 5.5 months of heckling to the nth degree after this story came out. That I saw it, and I part of me wanted to laugh, which I did, and part of me wanted to say to the Angels public relations department, just grab somebody and slap them and say, "Have you lost your mind?"
Yeah.
I mean, it's
exactly.
it's just ridiculous. That brings us to what we call in this business a segue. And that's taking one thought and marrying it to something else we want to discuss, because now Billy Davis, Shohei Ohtani, is going to have to face even different kinds of adversity than he was going to face before. And that's kind of where I wanted to go with you today, because, Furman is facing some baseball-wise here with some things that are going on with the way they're playing and some injuries, and every team faces it, whether we're talking college or professional, and it can be anything from injury, it can be outside distractions, it can be clubhouse issues. There's no really end to the different kinds of adversity that you can face, but it's the best players who find a way to rise above it. I know you've faced plenty in your career, both as an athlete and as a professional in your former job with the Secret Service and even now. So I just thought it would be a pretty good thing for us to kind of discuss a little bit how you've handled it, and maybe some people you've seen who haven't handled it very well.
Yeah, adversity, there's different levels of it, Dan, and I know we've probably discussed this, off air, but what I think are adverse conditions in a human condition, when I think of adversity, I think about an illness for a family. I think about a tragedy. I think about a lot of things that we've probably all been through as human beings.
Yes, sir.
And then when I talk about adversity for an athlete, which is on a different plane and a different scale for me, and what is your opinion of adversity? If you're in a slump in baseball, that's one thing. If you've contracted a potentially fatal disease, that's another thing. If you lost a loved one, but I do think what athletics taught me at a young age is the ability to fail, or what you perceive as a young person to be extreme adversity, and overcome that. So I think whatever Furman is going through as a baseball team, what Clemson is going through, for instance, for lack of a better comparison, when they blew that lead against Miami this past weekend, and then on Friday night had to come back and play a doubleheader on Saturday, and didn't respond very well in the first game, and then came back and won the second game. Now, for a 19-year-old kid who's probably lived a very nice life because you're playing baseball in college to begin with, you probably really haven't been faced with a whole bunch of real adversity. So your biggest adversity is being in a slump or losing 4 or 5 games in a row. So, but that teaches you as a young person how to deal with adversity as you go through your life. As now I'm 56 years old and I've run the gamut and face adversity every day as you get older, and you have friends that are older, and you really face life as we know it. I face adversity at Clemson a lot because from my perspective, growing up, I grew up in a house where I had I had great parents who were very loving, but my mom was a severe alcoholic, and so I dealt with that as a youngster all the way through till I got to Clemson, and I learned how to compartmentalize a lot of what I did as an athlete because I had to do that as a young person. Mom was a great lady, but there's probably people out there right now listening to the radio that have been around people that have an alcohol problem, and they're the most wonderful people in the world when they're not drinking, but when they drink, they become, Satan on earth.
Yeah, totally different person.
Yes, and so as an athlete at Clemson, I think I had the ability to compartmentalize and put things in a box and realize some of my adversity was, not to make light of it, my adversity when I got to Clemson, and all of a sudden I was number 1 recruit in the state of Virginia and All-American. I got to Clemson, I was backing up Terry Kennard. Yikes! I mean, so I could have folded the tent and transferred and gone somewhere else, but I decided to stick it out. And my roommate was Mike Epley, who was All-American, 2-sport athlete, great guy. And so, I lived in the shadow pretty much of Terry Kennard and Mike Epley my whole career at Clemson. And so that doesn't seem adversity to some people, but for me, as I look back in retrospect, it was. So how do I battle through that? How do I battle a lot of other things, injuries, so on and so forth? So I guess the answer to your question is, it does make us stronger. And I think athletics for young people, whether Little League as far as you go, or high schools as far as you go, or colleges as far as you go, or the professional ranks as far as you go. Like I tell people all the time, you got bad news for me? I was cut 3 times by 2 NFL teams. I was told I was going to be drafted in 1984. I sat all day the day of the NFL draft in 1984 and was not drafted. One of the longest days of my life. Now, to me, that was some of the most adverse conditions I'd ever been through in my life. And I thought it was bad at the time, but in retrospect, the door opened up. I signed as a free agent with the Broncos, got cut, picked up by the Cardinals. Doors open, doors closed. But I think it helped me along the lines as I got older in my job in the Secret Service. And then I saw people at the highest levels of our government face adversity and how they deal with certain situations. And it's not just communications among your family or friends, but it's worldwide international news.
We're visiting with Billy Davis, the former Clemson star and retired U.S. Secret Service agent. There's a saying out there, Billy, that adversity does not build character, it reveals it. Do you agree with that statement?
Yes, I do. It's how you bounce back, because everybody's going to have problems in their life. I mean, I don't know of anybody that's led a completely charmed life. I do know one thing: you can't get through your life without having other people help you. I was taken back. I got a Decision magazine. I don't know if you received Decision magazine or not from DGEA, but there was a retrospective of Billy Graham's life, and there was a picture of Senator Thurman, Strom Thurmond, together handing the Congressional Gold Medal to Billy Graham. And it struck me in my life as a guy that's been so blessed to be a part of both of those men in that picture. You know, when I was done with my playing career at Clemson in the NFL and went back to Clemson to finish school, and a guy named Allison Dalton, who worked at IPTAY, was instrumental in me getting a job up at Capitol Hill with Senator Thurman. You know, Bobby Robinson was a guy that I faced adversity and had to come back. He got me back into school, and I finished my degree. And I went up and worked for Senator Thurman. He looked out after me, and I got a job with the Secret Service and retired after 27 years and started working for the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association. And along those lines, there's a lot of bumps in the road. I think adversity, I guess, does build character, and it reveals it as well. Because if you never face any tough times in your life, you really don't know how to deal with it when life smacks you right in the face. So, so I guess that's a two-pronged answer to your question.
Yeah, I can't help but think that in the starkest reality of the situation is what you may face, that is adversity as an athlete, whether it's collegiately or whatever the case may be. While, yeah, there are lessons to be learned from that, it pales in comparison to the true real-life adversity that men and women face every day. I mean, I did not know that about your mother that you just shared with us here. So for you to have developed the ability to compartmentalize that as an athlete, to become the number one ranked prospect in the state of Virginia and do what you did coming from that background, that showed an ability to adapt and overcome adversity that had nothing to do with athletics, but athletics provided you kind of the way to do it, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. It was and so you really don't know this recruiting, and everybody gets caught up in that. You don't know the backgrounds of these kids, and you don't know why they make the decisions they do. And everybody has a story. You know, when you drive down the road and you see a light on in a house or an apartment, there's a story behind every light.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's got a story. So, and not everybody has an easy road. So, you do. I think that's what helped me. I don't know if I really excelled, but as an athlete, to do the things I got to do, whether it's at Clemson, whether football, baseball, at high school, or in the NFL, and go through adversity and pick it up, because you're able to realize, hey, this is bad, but man, you survived some other stuff that at a young age that. And don't get me wrong, my mom's a great lady, and she's been clean and sober for about the last 15 years. But it was not easy growing. Yeah, right. But it was not easy growing up in my house. I mean, I can tell you that I had college coaches come to my house, and my little sister and I had to get the house ready and make dinner because my mom was incapable of doing it. So that's that is adversity. So and I think why people like sports so much, Dan, we've had this conversation before, is it's an escape.
Yeah.
It's an escape from reality. So you can turn on the Cincinnati Reds and you can watch them play the St. Louis Cardinals, and for 2.5, 3 hours, you can escape from that. And I think I'm going off here in a direction which I have a tendency to do sometimes. I think that's why, like, for instance, the NFL, when people like Colin Kaepernick started making the NFL a social platform about their views, people don't want to hear that when they watch the NFL. They don't want to hear it. You know, Greg Popovich is running into problems down in San Antonio now with his outspoken criticism of the president with the San Antonio fans. They want to watch a basketball game. They want to escape. They don't want to have. They want to have a social platform and all these issues brought up to them, because they deal with that the other 22 hours of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And people want sports as an escape. And so anyway, the adversity issue, if that's the worst you face as a Furman baseball player or a Clemson basketball player, is whatever you're dealing with your coaches or trainers or teachers, it's a good proving ground for the real crucible, which is the day-to-day life, because you're going to face a lot worse when you're raising kids, or you get bad news from the doctor, or you get a phone call from the police department that everyone would dread.
Mm-hmm.
those are the things that's real adversity. So all this other stuff, I like to tell these athletes, if anybody's out there listening, you grind and you do the best you can do. I could tell our daughter every day, work hard, have fun. It's a grind. Every day is a grind, and at the end of the day, you're still one day it's all gonna be over as far as athletics for everyone. Whether you're Tom Brady or Billy Davis, it doesn't matter. You're gonna have to be able to survive and move on, because we're only on this earth for a little bit, and then hopefully you're right where you're supposed to be, right with the man upstairs, and that's hopefully how you live your life. And some people never find that. And so when you really have adversity, hopefully you have your faith to fall back on.
Yeah,
and I think you and I can attest to that.
You tend to, and I'm guilty of this, and I'm assuming you are because you're human. You tend to sometimes allow yourself to get caught in the bubble or have blinders on that the current situation that you're in is the only thing that you can focus on, and we don't allow ourselves sometimes to step back and take a look from a bigger picture point of view and say, yeah, while this is a difficult situation, the reality is, if I think about it, I've been through much worse, and God brought me through that. I was able to do this, and this. And if you can give yourself that perspective, then it makes it a little easier to handle these roadblocks as they come up. And from an athletic standpoint, I think if we come back to just a performance situation, you know how it is. If you're a hitter who's going through a slump, and maybe like we've had some kids at Furman who. Like for instance, I think one young man right now is like 2 for his last 27 or something like that. You can start to think, I'm never going to get another base hit. And it's hard sometimes to take the deep breath and step back and take a big picture view of things and remember, hey, you know what? Until this, I was doing pretty well. We get caught in the moment.
Well, it's really difficult to do, but I encourage anybody. It's really hard, Dan, but sometimes you actually have to step out of yourself. If you're able to do that, and sports psychologists say, and I've read books on it, and back as an athlete and as a Secret Service agent, and the things that I've done in my life, been blessed to do, pull yourself out of yourself, and look down on yourself where you are right now, if you're in a bad situation. And because we have a tendency to go through our life every day, and sometimes we go on autopilot. And we don't realize the moment we're in, and the people that we're talking to, and the situations, and how we affect other people and what we're doing. If you have the ability to, right now, if you're listening to the radio right now, pull yourself out of where you are right now, and where you are in your life, and what you're doing, and how you're impacting other people. It's a hard thing to do, because we can just get in the car and drive every day, and we just go through the motions of our everyday mundane routines. But if you have the ability to stop and go, okay, hold on, take a step back and look down on yourself, see where you're at, what you're doing. It's a really good exercise, and nothing more than mental health, because we can get caught up in the day-to-day grind, and it's just one day leads. Have you ever had the effect of, wow, where did that month go? Where did the month of March go? Well, slow down, step out of yourself, and see where you are. I try to do that, and it's been good for me as an athlete and as a Secret Service agent, whether I was requaling as an expert or whether I had to do a rappel out of a helicopter. It has a tendency to calm yourself down. And look how not only you affect the world around you, but how the world affects you.
Yeah,
and how you react to that.
It's the difference in sitting on the tarmac in a plane and looking out the window while you're on the ground, and then looking out of that same window when you're 10, 20,000 feet in the air, and the difference in the view, what you can see, how much more you can see from that 20,000 foot viewpoint. That's kind of what you're talking about here, being able to step back and get that 20,000 foot view.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's hard to do.
It's sometimes it's almost impossible to do because we allow ourselves to get so wrapped up in the day-to-day struggles, again, whether it's sports or whether it's life.
Yeah, you have to be able to train your mind. You have to actually trick yourself is what it is. Because I know, you can be overwhelmed by it all. But if you have the ability to do that, and I think, a lot of people that are, because everybody in athletics, there are a lot of people with a lot of physical ability.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what separates the ones that excel at a high level is the ability to do that and kind of just get into that zone where you're not really, you can be yourself and you pull yourself out. The mind is a remarkable instrument, and it can work in really great ways and really bad ways.
Yeah.
You have to control it.
Ain't that the truth?
Yep.
Well, listen, my friend, it has been great catching up with you again. What's the schedule look like for the next couple of weeks?
I'll be in town next week. I gotta go. So I'll be available next Tuesday or Thursday.
Okay.
And then I got to go out of town again for a period of time, and it's one of those places that's I can't even really tell you where I'll be going. So how about that?
Yeah.
But I'll if I don't talk to you this week, hopefully talk to you next week.
Yeah, we'll get it done to be sure. It's one of those deals. If he told us, he'd have to kill us, folks. That's the way.
Yeah, well, something like that.
That's the way.
It's a little bit different. Yeah. But have a great trip up to the Commonwealth of Virginia. Enjoy Lexington. Okay.
We'll do it, my friend.
All right, man.
All right, Billy.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is Billy Davis, the former Clemson standout and the retired U.S. Secret Service agent. We'll take a break and come back and put a wrap on today's show right after this.
Holding, number 79, defense, first down. I'm also holding a party tonight.
Great call by the official. Looks like we've got another flag on the field.
Holding, a Pepsi. Necessary refreshment.
Hey, Ted, bring some of that Pepsi to my party.
Pepsi and the NFL. Welcome to the Fun Doesn't End Zone.
The Atlanta Bread Company wants to make your dining experience as convenient as possible, especially if you're ordering takeout. Go online to atlantabreadcompany.com, place your order there, and pay for it too. Then, when you get to the restaurant at Cherrydale Point, you breeze right by the cash registers and go straight to the pickup counter where your food will be waiting. And speaking of food, try the new Shrimp Po' Boy, a delicious and surprisingly healthy addition to the already great menu. That's the Atlanta Bread Company, Cherrydale Point in Greenville. When the Furman baseball team goes on the road, it travels safely, comfortably, and with the latest technology with Jeans Tours and Charters. Jeans has been a Furman favorite for decades and has serviced Furman baseball for over 20 years. Take it from head coach Brett Harker. Book your next road trip with Jeans. Jeans Tours and Charters online at jeansbussvc.com or call 864-242-1673. Jeans Tours and Charters, servicing the upstate since 1980.
If you've been sidelined by an injury, the St. Francis Sports Medicine team is here 24/7 to get you back on the field. Our highly trained network of physicians, athletic trainers, and physical therapists treat all types of sports-related injuries, even those that don't occur from playing a sport. Call the St. Francis Hurt Line at 675-HURT for priority appointments or at-home advice. Again, that's 675-HURT.
Back for the final segment of the program. Our thanks to Billy Davis for spending some time with us. Has a unique view on things. He's done a lot of things that none of us have ever done, and it gives him a nice perspective that I think really fits well with some of the topics that we come up with here on the show. Quick word about Security Complete. They fit well anywhere. Home, business, whatever your security needs are, the guys there can handle it for you. Over 40-plus years of, I guess 40 plus would be over 40 years from the Department of Redundancy Department of experience in the security industry. They know exactly what to do, how to get it done. They do it with top-of-the-line, cutting-edge technology, and they do it saving you money. They do it with no monthly service contract, and you will find that they are just incredible people to deal with on a daily basis. We tell you about that offer for show viewers from time to time. We'll get more into that as the week goes on. I just want to remind you today that I was with another company. And let me bring myself back on camera here. I want you to see this. I was with another company. I enjoyed and loved the service I got from that company. And then they were bought out by a bigger corporation. And then the peak service and performance I got here went like this. And it caused some issues. And since I've made the change to Security Complete, it's gone right back here, and it stays there. I could not be happier. They protect my family, and you know I'm on the road a lot, so that's important for me. It should be important for you too, whether it's your home, whether it's your business, whatever it is. Security Complete can provide that peace of mind that you need. So once again, you see the phone number, 864-546-0360. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. That is Security Complete. And as always, we ask that you tell them you heard about them here on the show. All right, as we get set to wrap it up, tomorrow, Dave Glenn here to talk ACC sports. NFL draft obviously is coming up. We'll talk more about that. Any other leftover news from basketball that may be coming down as far as coaching changes or moves or shuffling or anything else that may be handling. Anything ACC, Dave's got it for us, and we'll talk to him tomorrow. We'll also be doing more of a preview tomorrow of Furman and Gardner-Webb, the midweek game tomorrow night up in Boiling Springs, North Carolina, and anything else that's going on. One final note, just saw a tweet from the Furman women's golf team, 3 holes in to the final round of the Southern Conference Championship down in Hilton Head. Remember, they had a 22-stroke lead at the end of round 2 yesterday. Well, 3 holes in, the lead's now 28 strokes. They are steamrolling the field. Coach Jeff Hull's team is going to waltz to that championship today and head back to the NCAAs with a lot of momentum behind them. That's just great to see. That'll do it for us. We'll be back with you tomorrow, same time, same place. Until then, you folks have a great rest of your Tuesday. That's what day it is. I'm Dan Scott. God bless you, and so long, everybody.